After days of conflict, India and Pakistan appear to have come to a shaky truce. It was announced Saturday by President Trump on Truth Social. He said after a long night of talks mediated by the United States, India and Pakistan have agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire. But all is not well, especially over the flashpoint of Kashmir, where a militant attack last month gave rise to recent hostilities. Joining me now is Raffi Aggarwal, the editor-in-chief of Foreign Policy and a former CNN New Delhi bureau chief. Good to see you, Raffi. Really interesting to see how the U.S. had to get involved. J.D. Vance, if you remember, made this statement when the whole thing first began, saying, look, we have nothing to do with this. You guys should calm down, have direct talks, but we have no interest in getting involved. What does it mean that finally the United States realized that it had to get involved?
That something happened, and all of this moved so quickly. So this entire conflict has basically lasted about 4 days. And when India escalated around about Thursday and Friday and began to attack Pakistani military sites, remember, it went further into Pakistani territory than at any point since 1971. And the reporting indicates that some of its strikes went close to one of Pakistan's nuclear command centers. And that may have been a signal for the United States to feel like Islamabad is cornered. And if they don't get involved, this could escalate further to the unthinkable option, which is either side using nukes.
To me, this is the window into the kind of world we may be entering. You know, a much more messy world where the normal restraints no longer apply. It used to be that all these Indo-Pak conflicts were along the line of control. Now they're sending drones into each other's cities, and also a place where the United States does not have the unrivaled influence it once had, because the key story here that we have to bring in is Pakistan is now essentially a reliable ally of China's.
That's right.
And part of what the story appears to be is that the Chinese provided the Pakistanis with military equipment that did better than many thought it would.
Yeah, exactly. And so that would have been on the initial day of attacks on Tuesday night in India, when reports indicate that some Indian fighter jets may have been shot down. India, of course, denies this. So there's a proxy war element here in that there are Chinese fighter jets, there are French fighter jets, there are drones, the likes of which we've never seen before in this conflict. But you know, Freed,
the media ecosystems, everyone has their own version of truth, right?
Yeah.
We have no idea what actually happened.
I mean, I've been covering this for a while. I don't know who to trust. The Indian side says one thing, the Pakistani side says another. Their respective media are also parroting government lines, and it's very hard to break through and understand what exactly happened. Historians will have a better sense of this. But I will say we are in a more dangerous place today than we were a month ago. And the reason is that these skirmishes have happened for quite a while, but every time India has upped the ante, and this time it has gone further into Pakistani territory than at any point since they became nuclear powers.
Why do you think India is emboldened?
It felt, well, its economy today is 11 times bigger than Pakistan's. In 1999, it was only 5 times bigger. So India feels more confident. It feels that these cross-border attacks have increased and it needs to do something decisive. But then most of all, at the root of this problem is what Pakistan, the fact that its military is unable to control militants on its side of the border, which India wants to change.
This is the fundamental thing that Hussein Haqqani, the former ambassador, wrote eloquently about, which is the Pakistani military has made this alliance with jihadi groups. And I think in this particular moment, the Pakistani military felt it was not popular. It had jailed the most popular man in Pakistan, Imran Khan, who was prime minister, for taking on the Pakistani military. And maybe they did this as a way to rally the country around a military that had gotten very unpopular.
It could be. And the thing is, again, like if you look at what both sides gain from this, I think for Pakistan, its military wants to up the defense budget. It wants to prove that it can sort of ward off a much bigger, stronger neighbor. But then most of all, for the military, they have to perpetuate themselves. And that ultimately is what they're looking to do. This Pakistani general, however, is a wild card. He is more fundamentalist, more religiously motivated than previous Pakistani generals. He's also a former spy chief. So if anyone does have knowledge...
Whom Imran Khan fired.
Exactly.
Which is, again, as I come back to the root of this, is they don't want a very popular democratic leader to continue to be Prime Minister of Pakistan.
Exactly. This will happen again.
Ravi Agrawal, always a pleasure.